What's going on, my friends? Welcome to the Seven Figures Club episode of the week. We've got an amazing guest for you guys. Everyone out there who wants a great story and someone who has overcome the odds to build an empire. And that's what we've got for you today. Our guest is Leslie KUSTER. And Leslie is a multiple seven-figure e-commerce brand owner. Her business, back from Bali, offers women bohemian chic clothing ethically made in Bali. The success of Back to Bali affords Leslie the life of her dreams, and she is passionate about igniting and inspiring other women entrepreneurs to rise while they create the financial and personal freedom that they crave. Leslie's well-earned knowledge is born from experience. In her mid-50s, she was able to ricochet her Back to Bali clothing business from 5 figures to earning millions of dollars. She is now helping other women and entrepreneurs at all ages realize their dreams to grow their business. And she also has a new book called Money and Freedom, 7 Keys to 7 Figures. That's a great title. The Ultimate Guide to Money and Freedom for Women Entrepreneurs in 2022. Leslie, welcome to the show.
There are over 32 million businesses in the U.S., and over 90% of them will never break 7 figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that 7 figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-7 figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and talk about 7 figures, money, and helping entrepreneurs be successful.
Absolutely. Well, Leslie, the audience loves to learn more about our guests and their background. So tell us a little bit, if you would, what about your, background and career, or maybe even, your how you were raised, led you down the path to entrepreneurship and essentially, eventually starting and growing a 7-figure business?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to, because that's really it. How does it all start? My parents were entrepreneurs. My dad was an entrepreneur. Then my mom started her own business as well. So I did grow up. It makes it a lot easier to have parents who are entrepreneurs rather than parents who are like, get a job and, retire when you're 65. So I was really supported as an entrepreneur. But for me, it really started quite a long time ago when I was working in New York City. I decided I needed a job because I needed to make some money there. And I took a job and I realized this is so not for me. I just really hated the whole process of working in a company. And I took off and I went traveling, and I decided to go traveling to Indonesia because I had always wanted to go to those beautiful islands. And I did, and I traveled, and I was gone for about 6 months. And then I had to return and get a job or do something.
Wow.
And I just had literally a light bulb moment. And I thought, I wonder if I brought clothing back from Indonesia, Bali is where I was. I wonder if I can sell it. I wonder if I could do street fairs. I wonder if I could do trade shows. This was before the internet, by the way. We were about the same time. This is in the early 90s. And I just literally jumped back on an airplane. I bought clothing off the street. And I brought it back to New York City, and I set up doing fairs and markets and holiday markets and Christmas markets. And I did that for a really, really long time. So I would say that—
How long are we talking?
Started like 18 years, like a really long time.
18 years. Oh,
yeah,
really
like
long
a super long time.
And so while you're doing this is your side hustle, this is your passion. Are you still, kind of working in one of those professional jobs there in New York City?
Oh God, no. So
okay. So you were full-time. We
definitely got rid of that. No. So when I went to Bali, I never had when I returned, I never got a job ever again. And, I just felt like I literally rather do street fairs. I rather do that than get a job. And
so how long did you have a job where you were working in New York City before you're like, I can't take this anymore?
I
How long
think
was
it was
that?
maybe
How many
about
years?
4 years, something like that.
Okay.
It was in my late 20s. And then I was like, I can't do this any longer. And went traveling.
What was it about the
Oh,
job that you're like, in general, working for a corporation, you're like, I can't do this? What were, some of the reasons why you're like, this just isn't for me?
I I've always I like to feel happy and I like to feel
Yeah.
free. And freedom is definitely one of my main values in my life.
Amen.
And having a job, especially in New York City, these years ago, you had 2 weeks vacation, you had 4 sick days, etc. This is certainly, you didn't work from home, that's for sure. You had to get up in the morning, you had to get on the train, you had to get in the subway, all of that, and you had to go into a big office building. And this was just, it just simply was not for me. I wanted freedom in my life. I wanted to be able to take summers off if I wanted to. I wanted to be able to travel again if I wanted to. And I wanted to really have a life of freedom and to be able to really steer my life as I wanted to steer my life, and not to be steered for by a boss or a company or anything like that. So
That's
that
beautifully
was
said. And
really it.
I think most of us as entrepreneurs, that's kind of what we're looking for, right? We want to be able to have the freedom to do what we want, when we want, with who we want. And if we don't have that, if you're not a business owner, an entrepreneur, you just don't have those kind of options and freedom, and especially not New York City. My sister worked there the last 4 or 5 years, and she worked every single day, all 7 days every week. And she made a lot of money, did well. And eventually same thing happened. And she's been a nomad going from Hawaii to Paris to Europe, same type of thing. So that is a beautiful, awesome story. So as you got started with your business, what were some of the early challenges that you found with building this business and being on your own without a safety net?
I would say the biggest challenge is having no idea what to do. So,
Yes.
when you're doing this and you're jumping off and there's no one guiding you or teaching you anything. And as I said, this is really at the beginning stages of the internet. I really didn't know what I was doing. So I was really floundering. And that is part of my story, and is something I really want to express to everybody watching and listening today, is that, I was not an overnight success by any means. And it took me a really long time to figure out how to do this and how to be successful. And so one of the things was I just didn't get the help that I needed from the very, very beginning. And I really was just trying to do everything myself. So that was like really the biggest mistake that I made at the very early stages, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you're missing, and you don't know where you're supposed to be going for help. So getting help, getting like a consultant, a coach, someone who specializes in what I do, which is Amazon, was the first step in getting into a whole other area where I was not just making 20,000 a year in sales, which is what I was doing at the very, very beginning.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's really what it is. So there's been a very long journey, so we're talking about a journey of like decades, actually. And it was really only until about 9 years ago that I was able to bring the business from where it was at the time, which was 5 figures, into multiple 7 figures, which it is now. The process of doing that, of bringing a business from something that does sort of okay, vacation money or a little bit here and there, to a business where it's in the multi-millions, is a completely different mindset. And that is honestly what changed in me, and that enabled me to really do it and take it to another level.
So what changed? Why did your mindset change and you opened up from doing 5 figures to multiple 7 figures 9 years ago? What was that process like? And for those listening who are in the struggle like, how can they learn from your story? What were the keys, or what happened, or what changed your mindset that really, put you on track to start growing?
You have to really want it, and you have to get honest about what you want. And that was my mistake early on. I wanted to make some money. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted the freedom, but my mindset was telling me that if I worked really hard, if I really went all in, if I really, worked, and struggled and whatever, then I wouldn't have the level of freedom that I really wanted to have. So all of these years of having my business, I did have freedom, meaning I can do what I want in the summer. I can take time off. I could wake up when I wanted to. I had the freedom, but I didn't have the level of success that I actually really wanted. And I didn't have the level of success because I thought that that would contradict with the freedom that I worked hard to have. Now, this is a mindset mistake. The mistake was that if I work really hard and build a successful business, I will no longer have freedom because I'll have to work all the time. And that belief kept me very, very small and kept me from really taking the steps that I needed to do in order to blow the business up. And what I learned now that I'm on the other side of it is I have more freedom and I have the opportunities for more time off than I ever thought I would have. And that it was really my limiting beliefs, thinking that success equaled giving up one's life, that I had that was keeping me where I was. So once I really began to be honest with myself that, first of all, that's what I wanted, that I did want to be more successful. I did want to make more money. I did want to step up. I knew that I had it in me to do more than I was doing, but I was kind of entrapped in my thinking of that it would, like I said, take freedom away. And also, as a woman, I was entrapped in this idea that I thought my husband is the one who should be making all the money. And that was really his job and not my job necessarily. So it was all of these beliefs, really limiting beliefs, that kept me really small for a long time.
And that's super powerful what you're sharing, because we all have these limiting beliefs and we don't even realize these blind spots and limiting beliefs that we have until we step back and ask, why am I where I'm at? And so your limiting belief at the time was, well, I'm going to give up all my freedom and I'm going to have to work 80 hours a week. I'm going to have to do that forever. And really, that's the difference, because a lot of people start a business so they can have more time freedom, spend more time with family, and have more money. But what they don't understand is you have to go all in with your business and sacrifice for an initial period. And if you do go through that sacrifice, then you can actually build systems and processes and hire employees and create a business of freedom. But to be truly free, it's pretty difficult to do that if you aren't generating enough profits from your business to be able to build that system and so forth. And so that's huge. And obviously, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that we have around even talking about money, whether it's in a marriage, a relationship, how we were grown, how we talk about money with kids. Why do you think money is such a taboo topic? And how do you think that successful entrepreneurs and business owners who want to take that next step need to be able to look at it and talk about money?
I was walking down the street. It was Thanksgiving, and I think it was something like 10 years ago. And it was at a time where I made a decision that I want to make more money. I want to build a business. And so I was like inundating myself with like podcasts and, all the trainings and all of this.
Yeah.
So I had my headphones on, crossing the street. I think it was 14th Street. And this financial guru guy is in my ears. And he says something that blew my mind. And it's so simple. He said, if you want to have money, you have to want money. If you want to have money, You have to want money. And it just really resonated with me. Like, oh my God, it's not just about, okay, I want to have some more money. I want to build a business. I have to actually say loud and clear to myself and out there, that is what I want. And I think we don't allow ourselves to want money. I think we all want to have it. We want an easier life. All of this, but we don't really have the courage a lot of times, and especially women, to say, I want money. I love money. Money is great. Bring it on, the money. And, with that thinking and with that simple statement that you have to actually want it, I started to completely change my attitude towards money. I even came up with a money mantra, which I say to this day, every day, which is, a lot of money comes easily and frequently. A lot of money comes equally and frequently. And we really need to, I believe, very much embrace our desire to have money and actually say we want it. Now, for women, this is even harder than it is for men, because for men in general, they're expected to make money and they're kind of comfortable with making money. They're probably even comfortable talking about money. But women often are not comfortable about talking about money at all, because simply it doesn't seem very feminine. Women want to be liked. They want to connect with other women. And when a woman appears to be money hungry, or whatever you want to call it, or talking about money, it appears to not be a very attractive trait for a woman. So it makes it even more difficult for women to talk about money, to embrace money, to say they want money. Now, women will say maybe they want money for their children, or they want money in order to help a charity, or they want to make the world a better place. But they'll also say things like, I love my work so much, I would do it without any money. Like, why would you ever say that? So these kind of things that we say to ourselves, or the ways we think and actually do say out into the world, have a profound effect on our attitudes towards money and whether we will have the money or not. So I think it's just really important to get honest with ourselves about what we want, and to understand that money is not good, it's not bad, it's just a means of bringing you more opportunities in your life. And I just really encourage all people, and all women in particular, entrepreneurs, to be really comfortable with their desire of wanting money.
Absolutely. And I think you brought up an important point there, that a lot of women out there maybe just think, oh, your spouse, your partner is going to take care of it. It's their job to do it. And at some point you decided, no, I can actually increase my income. I have more control over this. I mean, you think about other successful female entrepreneurs, your Martha Stewarts of the world, Joy Mangano, and others who took that responsibility on and really took control for their families and changed their entire family's life. Now, one of the things that you do talk about as well is you talk about this concept called the Princess Tower, which I'm not familiar with, but very excited to learn more about it. Why do you think a lot of women are kind of stuck in this Princess Tower, and what exactly is that?
Even though we're like where we are at this time in the world, and things are changing absolutely for sure, there's still very much an underlying belief that a woman could be saved by somebody else, all right, by a father, a partner, a husband, whatever, a wife, whatever. And I feel that it's a belief that we've been carrying for a long time. A lot of the reasons because we simply didn't have the opportunities to work for ourselves or to be in control of our lives for centuries. It's been like this. So it's sort of deep down inside of women to feel they need to be taken care of, especially when it comes to their security needs. But what has happened with that is that there's still some identity for women that they will be better off if they do have a partner who will be able to take care of them. And I call that being in the princess tower. And the trouble with being in the princess tower and basically assuming that somebody else, whoever it is going to really take care of your security needs, is that you put yourself at tremendous risk of your life and of not really being able to take care of yourself. And what I've seen like over and over again with a lot of women is even when they do partner with wealthy men, wealthy women, that they don't really have access to the money. So, for example, I have a really good friend of mine, and her name is Jane, and she's, married to this guy has a lot of money, but she doesn't actually have the money. She doesn't actually know where the money is. She doesn't actually have access to getting that money. And this is very, very typical with a lot of partners and a lot of traditional relationships where the man makes the money, controls the money, gives some money to the partner. So this really takes the responsibility of one's life completely away from you and puts women really at risk of their own security in their own life. This is changing, and I know it's really changing very much, but this is what I call the princess tower. And I really encourage women to get out of it and to build your own tower that you have responsibility over and control over.
Absolutely. So for those who are listening, who are taking that step, or they're about, to take that step, the next step then is, okay, how can you actually build a business that serves you instead of you being the slave to your business and working those 80-hour work weeks? How do you actually build a business that is not 100% dependent upon you doing 99% of the work?
Yeah, great question. So Allie Brown, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's one of my mentors. She does a lot of different events and also coaching for women entrepreneurs. So I went to one of her events a few years ago, and at the time I was doing under 7 figures. And I was astonished to meet a whole bunch of women there who were doing 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, and were working 5 to 20 hours a week. And I was like, I need to learn how to do this. And I did. And the way you learn to do that, first of all, you have to want to do that. You have to believe that you can actually have a very successful business and not work all the time. So again, we're back to the mindset. Everything goes back to the mindset. So first of all, you need to believe that this is actually possible. And one way to know it's possible is to meet other entrepreneurs who have made this happen, which is why I really think going to events like this and networking and masterminds are so important, because you can see what's possible for you. So when I returned from Allie's event, I was like, I am going to do this. And the way one does this, the first step is really creating a spreadsheet of your operations, where I literally wrote down in Excel every single task that my business has to do in order for it to run. And I think I'm probably up to maybe, I think I'm now up to maybe 400 tasks. Okay. At the time, maybe it was about 200 tasks. But details, every single thing, I didn't leave anything out. And then I wrote down next to it, who did these tasks? And even though I had at that time, I think I had one other team member, I was by far doing 80-90% of the work. And I realized this has to change. So if I want to build a business where I can be working 5 to 20 hours a week, where I can really have the freedom, I can have, everything that I wanted originally of starting the business, then you have to really know what tasks are needed to do your business. And to do that, you need to create this operations list. Once you create an operations list, you then can start identifying who needs to do what and what kind of team member you need to hire in order for them to take the tasks off of your shoulders. When you do this and you start to do this, this is how you build a business where you don't work for the business, but the business works for you. And this is ultimately the goal and what everybody should be really working towards. And to do that, you need to know what it is you need to do in your business and then hire the people to help you do it.
Absolutely. So basically, you're creating those SOPs, those standard operating procedures for all the tasks and all the jobs that need to happen for the business to run. And then, of course, you're able to hire and train people and even create systems and processes and automate a lot of that in order to build your business. And that's what so many people are missing. And that's why so few people ever break the 7 figures mark, which is the whole purpose of this podcast. How can we help more business owners break the 7 figures mark? There's only 5% of businesses that ever do. And so a lot of that comes down to you can't do all the work. You're one person, and you may have to sacrifice for a few months where you make less profits as the business owner, but ultimately build a business that can run itself and then frees up your time to do the $100 and $200 per hour work instead of doing the $15 per hour work that you should be paying someone else to do. So that is huge, amazing value bombs, Leslie, that you just dropped for the audience. So, as a female entrepreneur, as really any business owner out there, what is something that they could do right now to increase their net?
Ooh, I love profit first. So we're back to talking about systems.
Tell us what this means. What does it mean, profit first? Because a lot of business owners haven't quite heard of this new term that's so important.
When I first hired my consultant, this is back in the early days. So this is, maybe 10 years ago or so, when I decided I want to, build this business. One of the first things she said to me was, do you pay yourself? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she was like, well, do you pay yourself? I said, well, when my credit card comes in, I pay for, plane tickets and going out to dinner. She's like, no, do you pay yourself? And I'm like, am I supposed to be? Okay. So she referred me at the time to a book called Profit First. Many listeners probably know about it, by Mike Michalowicz. And it completely changed my business. And Profit First is a system, again, a system, and I can't, say it more louder, that systems and learning and all of this of how to run a business is one of the keys to being successful in a business and getting over the 7 figures. And his system basically teaches you to allocate in different buckets things you need for your business, such as paying yourself salary, your taxes, your operating expenses, etc. So when money comes in, for example, I'm paid every 2 weeks from Amazon. When the money comes into me, I don't then go look, who do I have to pay, and start sending, payments out. The money immediately gets set up into percentages. A certain percentage is going to the owner's pay, to my salary, a certain percentage to taxes, a certain percentage to my operating expenses, a certain percentage to profit. And lately I've been doing another percentage to just a business savings. And the beauty of this system is, first of all, when taxes come around and you have to open up your checkbook and, send whatever, 60,000 or 80,000 or who knows how much to the IRS, the money is sitting in the account already. And this is an amazing experience. So you are always having the money that you need to pay yourself, to pay for taxes, and to pay for your operation experiences. So in order to, what is the one thing you can do to really increase your net worth and in your profitability of your business is to learn the Profit First method.
Absolutely, guys. Wherever you're at, if you're on the treadmill, if you're driving, take a note, write this down, email this tidbit to you. You have to have a profit first mentality. Otherwise, you'll just be like, oh, and I remember the author of the Profit First book, Mike, talking about this business owner that he was talking to, and she was saying, wow, we doubled our business, and oh, I don't have to worry about profit first. We're super profitable. And so he got around asking, great, well, what was your net profit last year? And she, oh, it was like 20%. Like, oh, good. So you took all that 20% as profit and payment yourself to the business owner. Oh, well, no, actually we, plowed those profits back into the business. Okay, so you actually didn't make a profit. And so that's what's so important, guys and gals. You can't be working for free as the business owner. You have to be generating profits, building your net worth. And if you're not, that's where you have to get into the details and figure out why you're not doing that. And percentage wise, maybe you've got to make some changes there. What are some of the changes, for those who are breaking even or just not, other than, the allocations? What if your business model just isn't profitable right now? What do you recommend someone look at doing then, Leslie?
There's two ways to build a business, and one way is to borrow money. Okay, it's to borrow money and borrow from people like you. I know your company does that, and that is one way to build a business. That is not the way I built my business. I never borrowed any money, so and to this day I have not borrowed money. So really, the way I personally have done it, and the way I really suggest people do it, is to go in small. I knew from the beginning that being profitable was really my goal as early as I possibly could make it, and that was always what I wanted, was to be profitable. And to do that, you need to start small, because you can't just go and take, $50,000 loan or $100,000 loan. You really need to start with something like $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that, or maybe 5,000 tops, I would say. And really understand that going into debt, in my opinion, especially at the early stages, is not it's a personal decision. I just was not comfortable going into debt in my business. But there is another way to build a business, and that is going into debt. For the businesses that basically plan to exit early, for example, to build a business and maybe exit within 3 to 5 years, there is no way that they can get to an exit in 3 to 5 years without going into debt and borrowing. So there is different ways to build a business, and it really depends on your comfort level.
There really is, but either way, whether you're going to get funding, financing, raise debt capital, go after venture capital, or you're going to try and grow organically, it all comes down to the same problem, right? You have to know that if you add a new customer, if you add a new client, what your costs are, and that you're going to generate X amount of profit percentage after paying taxes, after paying overhead, and generate a profit first mentality. And that what Dave on John of Shark Tank always talks about is, once you've got proof of concept within your business, now that's actually where it makes sense to actually take out financing. So for most of our clients, we're going to get them a line of credit or 2 or 3 or 4. And with those lines of credit, the money's available when they have proof of concept, when they know that if they hire another person, they're going to be able to grow this much. When they know if they run that next innovative marketing campaign, it's going to generate additional clients, customers, growth, product sales, etc. And or especially in a product-based business like yours, it's inventory, right? If you can't purchase more inventory and turn it around within a 3 to 6 month time frame, you'll run into a ceiling where you're going to grow very, linear instead of exponential, unless you can buy more inventory. But you don't get to that point until you have that proof of concept. Otherwise, that's why we never recommend taking out a loan almost ever, because if you take out a loan, now you have to pay it back. You've got interest, you've got fees. But if you have a line of credit, you do it when you have the proof of concept, when the opportunity's there, and you do it when you can generate a strong return of 200 to 300% on the money. And that's what business owners make the mistake of, right? They just take out, debt without thinking about having a proof of concept, knowing that if they take this action. It generates this sale, this profit, etc. And so that's certainly the big key. Now, Leslie, a lot of people are listening in on this podcast are thinking, wow, Leslie, amazing value bombs. I'd actually just like to jump into your mind and learn more about your programs. Maybe I could even find out how I could work with you. And I know you've got a new awesome book coming out. So for the audience who has been listening, receiving the amazing value bombs you're dropping, what is the next step they can take today? Because we don't want them to be passive. We want them to take action. What's the next step they can do to get into your world and learn these amazing lessons that you've learned in building a multiple seven-figure business?
Yeah, my dream, my vision is to help as many entrepreneurs as I possibly can to encourage them and help them to get to past the seven-figure mark. So I have so much free content, and the best way is just to go to my website, which is lesliekuster.com. I have blogs there, I have videos there, I have a course that you could sign up for. And as mentioned before, I have a great new book that will be coming out in a few months as well.
That is awesome. What's the name of the new book coming out?
The book is called 7 Keys to 7 Figures, The Women Entrepreneur's Guide to Money and Freedom.
Well, as the owner of Seven Figures Funding and the Seven Figures Club podcast, I love that title, 7 Keys to 7 Figures.
Yes.
Again, less than 5% of business owners get there. Less than 2% of female business owners get there. And there is, if you want to be more successful, everybody that's listening, like, you have to surround yourself with people who have done what you want to do, and they've got the roadmap and directions. And Leslie KUSTER has that roadmap. So if you go to Leslie, Leslie, KUSTER, KUSTER.com, there's a lot of amazing content. She's got her own podcast. She's got consulting. She's got courses, and she's got this amazing book that's going to be coming out with more specific steps you can take. That's what's so cool about what we all do, right? Once you do break that get in the 7 figures club, so to speak, like, everybody wants to help other people who are on that journey. And so everybody listening to this podcast who's on that journey, that's why we bring amazing guests like Leslie in here, so you can learn from her journey and take those steps to build your 7 figures business. Well, Leslie, thank you so much for being a guest on the 7 Figures Club podcast. The final word is yours, with action that people can take today to take the next step in growing their business.
Focus. Focus is one of the most important things you can do if you want to build a 7-figure business. So what that means is that we all think we could multitask, and I'm here to tell you, you can't. So if you have this business and this business and this business, take the one, just choose the one that you're thinking about and go all in on that one business. Go all in on it and really learn. I believe you should become a ferocious learner and be humble. Amen. And to know that you don't ever know, no matter if you're at 7 figures or 8 figures or 9 figures, there's always more and more to learn. So just really focus, and you will do it. If you want it, you will do it.
Guys, the final 3 words, amazing. Focus, learn, and go all in. That's what I love about what Leslie just said. Go all in. You can't dabble. You have to immerse yourself, go all in. And in the future, you'll be able to come up for air. You'll have a business built. You'll have freedom. But if you don't go all in, if you're not completely focused, and if you're not learning and getting better every day, you will not get to that life of freedom. You will not join the 7 Figures Club. Leslie, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you, Leo.
Are you looking for more 7-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out 7figures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.